me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back.
Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. I am Douglas Viviani. I'm here today with David Cohen and Chris Solger. We are examining the hot dog, and is the hot dog still king at the baseball stadium? That was just a little bit of Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra doing their version, or the second half of the version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Just reminds me, just as an aside, last night I was singing Lullaby to my 2-year-old to try to get him to go to bed, and he looks up at me and puts his hands on his ears. Quite discriminating with regard to his singing abilities. I thought I was sounded just as good as Sinatra and Crosby in that song.
I'm sorry, Doug, say that again. I had my hands over my ears.
Everybody, please take your hands off of your ears so we can listen to the rest of the show and discuss the hot dog. To me, a hot dog at the ballpark is just as good as steak at the Ritz. I've taken that quote from our friend Humphrey Bogart, who said that back in the 1950s. To me, going to the ballpark is sort of a time travel experience, if you will. The hot dog has been around since 1902. It was introduced at the stadium, Yankee Stadium, way back then. Babe Ruth has been known to sit in between a doubleheader and eat 8 hot dogs and drink 12 sodas. I think that's the story. And so it goes back quite a ways. I'm someone that is interested in the hot dog and love talking about the game with my granddad or whoever it might be that I'm watching the game with. But today's world, we've got a whole nother experience. Going to the ballpark, we've got more than the hot dog to experience. And I just wanted to introduce that topic and ask Chris if he's been to the ballpark recently, and if so, what he's seen with regard to cuisine at the new ballparks.
Well, Doug, you're absolutely correct with the amount of choices that are at ballparks these days. Just from our local Citi Field and Yankee Stadium, there's an abundance of food choices. I was actually at the Yankee game last Friday, and I make it mandatory every time I go to a Yankee game to make sure that I have the garlic fries and the sausage and peppers. And really, really good stuff. Not cheap, but it's worth every cent. I also had a chance to visit for the first time Citi Field in September with the wife, and had a chance to walk around all the different concessions, and ended up going to Nathan's. But I like the idea of being able to decorate my own hot dog with their little serving island they have out there with all the toppings. And I also like, which I think a lot of stadiums are jumping on the bandwagon, increasing their beer selections and including craft beer, because I'm a real craft beer nut, and I really like to sample as many as I can. So I sucked down a few Goose Islands at the stadium last Friday, and so it was good.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm just listening.
Yeah, Dave's very happy with this topic. He's enthralled. Long story short, I've had a friend of mine go to Safeco Field recently and experience the, I guess they call it an Ichiro. It's after Ichiro Suzuki. Am I pronouncing that right? And it's a spicy tuna with some black sesame seeds, wasabi, and some radish sprouts. It sounds a little different than the usual hot dog that my grandfather used to have at the ballpark. But something I might give it a shot one day. Not only that, I've seen, and I've gone to Baltimore maybe 3-4 years ago, which is known for the crab cakes. As you visit Baltimore, in the stadium, they've got a Baltimore famous snack of crab cakes right at the ballpark, which is served with, of course, a lemon wedge and gives you the real charm of the city right there as you're at the ballpark, whether you're sitting at the seats or not. Not sure you're always going to be sitting at the seats waiting for these cool these delights to be served to you and prepared. Chris, you have any ideas of some that you've experienced recently that you're a big fan of, or no?
Another thing I noticed at Citi Field was their great steak sandwich. on ciabatta bread with melted cheese and the caramelized onions. I mean, that really looks good. I'm also a huge fan of fish tacos and seafood. I'm looking over, and I was on a couple of websites before the show today, just kind of taking a peek at what these different unique foods are. And I got to head down to that Marlins Stadium down in Miami, boy, because there's a delicious, looks like a combination of shrimp, cilantro, and some avocado over some chips. I guess it's kind of like some nachos. To me, I'd probably even go a step further and throw it inside a nice, good-sized burrito and go a little crazy.
What was the point? What's the point of this particular show here? I mean, do you guys? Where's this going?
This is going to go.
Do you watch the game at all, or do you just eat the food?
Well, have you seen the Mets lately? I mean, yeah. Even the Yankees, for that matter, these days. Listen, going to the ballpark is an experience, and in my world, eating and experience a meal with my friends and family is just as interesting as who's coming in to pitch the fifth inning, because the starter didn't last for the Mets that week.
I think you need to really, you go to a ball game. What's the average ball game nowadays? 2.5 hours, unless you go to a Red Sox-Yankee game, which is going to be closer to 4 hours. But I think you really need to break up the experience, because I certainly, this is me from personal experience, can't stay focused on a baseball game for 2.5, 3 hours. It's just the pace of the game. I get distracted very easy. I'm people watching. I'm watching the scoreboard. I'm listening. I'm watching the promotions, people shooting T-shirts into the stands. And food. Food is a big part of it. Eating and drinking is a big part of my life. Sorry. Whether at the stadium or at home. And no, I'm not an alcoholic.
No, I'm just wondering,
you know what I mean?
If you're hungry, go to a restaurant with your family. Why?
Yes.
The game just seems to be getting in the way.
Right. I guess I'm just getting to the point. It just adds to the overall experience.
It does. Let's go back a little ways. Chris and I had gone to quite a number of games back in the day ourselves. And Chris used to pack a backpack, and he'd throw his own make of a hero. Did you buy the hero somewhere, or you made them yourself?
I would usually go kind of like a ritual before. If it was a Yankee game in the city, working in the city at the time, I would usually go to the Blimpies around the corner and get a Blimpies Best. The full Italian.
Blimpies is at the stadium now.
Yeah, this is going back a little ways.
So you would bring that?
Yeah, so I would bring that up, have them wrap it, a couple of extra plastic bags to make sure it would make the trip up on the subway okay. And if it was a Met game, usually before an opening day, I used to go to Syosset Hero Shop, which I think is still there, and get the Italian Stallion,
nice,
which is a good foot long, 2-pound. Heavy-duty hero that would last me. I'd probably end up bringing some home, although mayonnaise got a little funky by the end of the game. But anyway,
this guy at the game during those days, he would stay at the seat at least, but his eyes and his focus did not leave that hero until it was done. And I recall one time you go to the men's room in between that hero, and you'd come back and half of it be gone.
And half of it, that one night sitting up in the upper deck. I remember you guys pulled a fast one.
I remember these things. I don't really remember exactly who won the series in '96.
So you guys are you're packing lunch, or you're looking forward to eating at these gourmet type restaurants at the stadium. It's a beautiful day outside. So look, my argument would be you're not baseball fans, you're picnic fans, right? you're just basically going to a picnic, and there happens to be a game going on down there. Would you agree with
point
that?
of view? But we're paying a good price for that ticket, and we're sitting at those seats or not. And I'll tell you what: the announcements, the television all around the stadium, those symbols of telling you when to clap, it's music playing before every single at bat. It's no longer just going to the ballpark and having a hot dog and Cracker Jacks and a soda. Believe it or not, I do that when I go to Little League games, and that, so to speak, and I pay more attention to the game there because it's baseball. Now I don't know if we're a little away from baseball, so I went with it. I'm swept up in it, and I'll tell you.
So why are you going to the game then? That's the part. I understand you like the food and all that. I don't understand where the baseball game itself it is important here.
This is the thing now with baseball. You can eat, drink, enjoy, talk, and the game is still going. And guess what? There's a TV there. You look over your shoulder. You're looking at the field. You're not missing a thing. You're not missing a thing. By the way, this is Everything Old is New Again on 103.9 FM. Chris, I'll tell you, just as an aside, I went to Fenway the other day. They got a lobster roll.
Now I'm being excluded from
Yes.
this. Chris.
Now we know why Chris is here.
Another thing, Chris. Well, that's right, Doug.
There's a lobster roll there that you cannot beat. I've have lobster rolls out in Riverhead, out in the Hamptons and so forth. The one at that stadium's beyond belief. $16, but it's beyond belief.
I need to get out to the ballparks a little bit more and perhaps do a little bit more traveling. But as I said, I've been poking around a little bit on websites just to see the different food items that are offered. And if I'm ever in Houston, I'm certainly going to go down to Minute Maid Park and get a barbecued stuffed baked potato, because just looking over the picture of it, it just looks like a heck of an experience. Just pulled pork, barbecue sauce, jalapeno peppers. I'm a crazy guy for anything spicy, hot sauce, jalapenos, you name it. This looks like a really, really good snack to have.
But if you go to a restaurant, you don't have to pay the premium of the baseball game. It's like an economics lesson here. I don't.
Right.
I'm not getting it.
I do enjoy, no, I mean, there is I'm going to the game to watch the game. There's no question about it. I am a sports fan, but these are nice accompaniments of the experience, as Doug alluded to before. So
we'll pick up this argument on the other side of the commercials. This is Everything Old is New Again, 103.9 FM. 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the